Okay, hello, all my beautiful souls. Welcome back to another video. Thank you guys for being here. Just a little reminder, the sun is shining. We have a nice little plant here. I'm sitting on the floor and I'm here to chat with you today because, believe it or not, I am super angsty. And I feel like I've been trying to get better. Well, not trying to get better, but I've sort of realized this hack, which is when you're angry, if you can learn how to channel it, like that's energy. If you can learn where it can best be flowed to, and like every emotion is energy, every emotion can be used. And for me, anger, surprisingly, is when I film some of my best videos. Not to say this is going to be a bang or anything, but it just might. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the thing I want to talk about today is how getting the things that we want, getting to the next level, getting to the place we want requires discomfort. And I think we all know that. We hear it all the time. Like, you have to step outside your comfort zone to get comfortable. But I think I really want to take the energetic approach and we talk about a lot of like manifestation, energetic work, things like that. This is something I'm going through in my own life again. And every single time that a manifestation has come to me, I've gone through the same process. So I think it's just a really good reminder, because I assume if you're watching this, there's probably something you're trying to create, or some type of manifestation, some new energy or identity that you're trying to come into. And I think it's just a really good refresher that anytime that happens, there is going to be discomfort. And it's not always the discomfort that you're necessarily expecting, because if we look at it energetically, Dr. Joe Dispenza quote, your personality creates your personality creates your personal reality, right? So your identity, what you identify as, what you believe as, who you show up as, who you believe yourself to be, that's what dictates what gets presented to you in your reality. So if your identity shifts, what's getting presented to you is also going to shift, and vice versa. If you want your reality to shift, you first have to shift that which you believe yourself to be, that within your identity, all that you believe you are, how you show up, your thoughts, your habits, your beliefs. So in that process, inherently, that is going to be uncomfortable, because comfort comes from maintenance. It comes from predictability. It comes from homeostasis, right? Our ego, its job is to control that. It's to keep us safe. It's to maintain that consistency, that expectation. It's to predict. It's to understand the outcome. If we are to go quantum, which is what we do when we're manifesting, which is what we do when we quantum leap, right? We're breaking through that barrier. We're literally bypassing our current reality, our current identity, and stepping into something new. When we do that, it's uncomfortable, because we are quite literally dying to the old self. The old life has to fall away. The old identity has to fall away. So there's a strong discomfort in that process in and of itself. I mean, I know everybody has different sort of tactics for manifestation, different techniques that they like to use. For me, I use a lot of different things, but every time my reality has massively shift, it's been from Alpha Meditations. And I specifically listen to the Jose Silva Alpha Beats. And I go into a dark closet and I put on an eye mask and I put on my headphones. I listen to beats, and usually in the periods of my life that have resulted in massive changes, I did this every single morning and every single night, usually for an hour, and did that for multiple weeks, sometimes months, visualizing the outcome. In some cases it was multiple things, in some cases it was one thing, but every single time I've done that without fail, my manifestation has come. With that being said, there's a lot of other things I wish I had done it for and am now going to start doing it for, because this is sort of a side tangent, but what has happened to me in the past, I'm sure other people can relate to this, is that you'll get really excited about manifestation. Maybe you went through a rough period, you come back to it, you remember that you are the creator of your own reality, you are the operant power, you start practicing, you start visualizing, you start doing all the things. And then you surrender it, right? You give it up, maybe you get focused on other things, you kind of forget about it. It unfolds, the series of events happens, your manifestation comes to you, and then this is what I think a lot of us go through, is you're just kind of enjoying the physical manifestations. You know, the fruits of your labor, life becomes good. So much so that maybe you even get distracted and forget that you're the creator of your own reality, and then the cycle repeats itself. And I'm sure everyone experiences this to different degrees. I have probably gone through this process maybe 3 times now, like in really dramatic ways, where it's like went through the first initial awakening, realized this is how reality works, created my dream reality, got distracted by it, forgot I was the operant power, it all fell apart, so I started doing the work again, you know what I mean? So it's like 3 cycles of that. That being said, every time that I have been able to create my dream life, the things that I actually want, it's been through that process. And in my experience, what makes that so effective is that you're literally bypassing the conscious mind when you go into alpha. And that the conscious mind is your ego, right? It's your logical mind, it's your identity. So if you can bypass that, you're sort of bypassing that part of you that wants comfortability, that wants homeostasis. So that's why it is much easier when you go into that state to actually create the life you want to create and get access to a new version of yourself in a new reality. But with that being said, even if you can access that state in certain moments, like when you're trying to manifest, whether that's scripting through affirmations, whatever it is, your current self has to now catch up with that reality that you've experienced in perception and thought and visualization. And that process will still be uncomfortable, because if you repeat a certain identity, a certain reality, if you train your nervous system into a certain state, a certain mode of operation, a certain reality, it becomes more comfortable the more you practice it, but there's still now a huge gap between your current reality and what your reality has to catch up with. And not always, because I think there's always times where the manifestation can be very seamless and can be very comfortable and smooth. But a lot of times, especially if it's a very big jump, it's going to inherently be uncomfortable, because you are, again, dying to your old self, your old reality is falling away. And I say all this to say that sometimes you just need a reminder, because a lot of times when we start doing energy work, your life will kind of fall apart. And even Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this too. Like, if you're visualizing for a new job repeatedly, and that's the new state that you're practicing, and you get fired from your job, stay the course, because there's going to be a bridge of incidents, a bridge of events that gets you to your outcome. Sometimes the thing that you don't want will have to happen in order to get you to the outcome that you do want. And I think that can be really discouraging, especially if you're just starting to do manifestation work and it's like, oh, my entire reality is actually falling apart. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. You might not be doing anything wrong. Like, part of the process is to trust that you aren't going to understand how it unfolds until you're in front of it, behind it, until it's behind you, and until you can look back and actually understand, the trail, the series of events that led up to that thing. And then it makes sense. And then you just have so much more trust and confidence in the universe. But it can be really hard when you're going through that process, when you don't really understand why things are working out the way that they are. It's part of believing that God has a plan, that the universe has a plan, that you've put your order out to the universe. It is on its way to you. If you've embodied the state, if you've felt that, if it's felt real to you, then it's on its way to you. And you just have to trust that, as hard as it is. So try to look at every situation, negative as it might be, as something that's positive, as something that is evolving you into the person that you want to become. I think there's a quote in the Bible about, if you ask for patience, like, God is going to give you situations that are going to make you patient. If you are asking to be healthy, you might experience health issues that open you up to avenues that are going to cure your health, if that makes sense. And that's happened to me, where I've actually run into health issues, and then that has led me to explore things I wouldn't have otherwise considered, that led me to an improvement in health I can't even explain, like herbalism, ways of eating that would not have been opened up to me. I would not have been open to had an issue not happened. You know what I'm saying? And even if you think about challenging times in your life, aren't those the things that made you the person that you are? Or could you have been that person if you didn't go through some of those things? And I know people say this all the time, and it's rhetoric at this point, but I think it is really helpful to hear. And I'm just in a situation where I have to remind myself of that, because I have recently started doing the deep work again. And one of the things I have asked for is a shift in career. And I've always known that this job was not like the long-term thing for me, but I had gotten very complacent and comfortable with it and sort of just made it work. And ever since I started doing this work, and I kid you not, immediately after I started doing this work, my job has become unbearable. Like fuming mad, unbearable, like laughably unbearable. And sometimes it has to get to that point because I can honestly say that I have taken actions I would not have otherwise taken if I was not uncomfortable. And it's because things have to happen to bring you into that new identity, to bring you into that person that you're asking to be able to hold the thing that you are continually asking for. And there's nothing you can really do but just ride the ride and try to give yourself grace and try to reframe it to a point that, you know, in a way that makes it serve you, because it is serving you. It's just twice as hard when, you know, you fight it and don't view it as such and just view it as another hardship. But like, this is everything you're going through is sculpting you and creating you into the person that you want to be. And it's moving you towards the thing that you want. As unfun as that is, just flow with it. Just be present. Know that you've asked the universe for this thing, and know that the way you navigate these situations, the way that you grow from these situations, whatever you learn, whatever you take away from who you have to become to traverse these situations, are gonna lead you to becoming the person that can hold the things that you want. I know I'm just saying the same things at this point, but I just want to drill it into your mind, because when you do need that reminder, you need it, you know? And I just want you to know that I know that you're doing the work. You're here, you're learning, you're exploring, you know, there's things you want to create in your reality. There's things that you're moving towards. If you are going through adversity, that is to your benefit. It is going to help you. It's going to heal you. It's going to grow you. And just trust it. Trust that adversity helps species develop. It's literally the reason for evolution, you know, is going through adversity and learning how to overcome things and learning how to adapt and mold. And yes, there are going to be parts of yourself that die in that process, but that's a good thing. Release them with grace and just deal with the void, deal with the discomfort, and know that the thing that will ultimately come in is going to be so much more fulfilling and healed, and aligned with you and who you are and what you're asking for. Yeah, I hope this was helpful. I'll see you next time, and I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for being here, and yeah, that's all for now.